Thank you, everyone. Thank you all for showing up. Some of the comments are not gonna appear for me on my Dreamkeeper page. I'm gonna have to keep an eye out up here on the personal page for those comments. So if I don't see your comment and I don't get back to you right away, just be patient with me. I'm trying. So quite a few things to talk about. First off, I was gonna make a Third Eye Thursday video about it, but I never did. And I have a few Third Eye Thursday videos backed up still, so I don't even know if I'm gonna get to this one, but I did end up going lucid twice again, and I tried to ask the dream characters what the time and date was. I also did some research to see if that's ever been done in any other type of sleep experiments too. And I found that it hasn't been, but very similar types of things have been done. And obviously the results are varied, but it's really interesting. Um, Something about trying to test the logical side of your brain when you're dreaming. When you're in a seemingly nonsensical type of dimension. Uh, so so when I went lucid, this was like this was like 3 weeks ago actually, and it was right around the time when the person first asked me to try this. Um, the first dream character that I saw was someone that I recognized that I haven't seen in a very long time. It was my friend John Jones that I used to work with at Fernwood. I doubt he's ever going to see this because I don't ever see him on Facebook anymore, but that'd be cool. But yeah, he was in my dream. And I was like, and I knew that the reason I knew I was dreaming was because I knew that I didn't work at that place anymore, and that's where we were. And I'm like, okay, so either I'm in the past, I must be dreaming. So it kind of clicked for me. And I asked him if what time it was, and he looked at me like I'm crazy, and he's just asked me. He said, "Don't you know? You don't know?" So, and honestly, from there, kind of went vague. We like laughed. I mean, me and him used to just chill out and like smoke blunts and crack jokes all the time. So, kind of like reverted back to that comfortable stage, and we just it wasn't. I was lucid at one point, but I kind of got knocked out of it, and it kind of just turned into a regular dream, and I woke up. My other issue is that I haven't been writing my dreams down, and yeah, and I know I'm a hypocrite for that because I advocate that a lot, and I used to always write down everything, and I'll get back to it again. I need to get myself a new dream journal and start documenting these things because I've been dreaming a lot more since since I've been online posting all of this stuff and going live and talking about it with all of you beautiful people. The dreams have just been, I mean, I can't even stop it. It's like really beautiful, really intense dreams. Not every night, but a few times a week at least. And I really need to start writing them down. I'm slacking. Although it's pretty cool now. Also, if I reflect back on my dreams in these videos, I'll always have that record of it as well. Okay, so then the next time I went lucid in my dream, and the reason I said it was someone I knew the first time because the second time I didn't recognize the person. And it was an older man, and it was horrible. Honestly, this time I wasn't even lucid, but I guess I don't know. There must have been some sense of consciousness in there because I was conscious enough to ask him, well, what the day was and what time it was, and he just told me it's time to get a watch, of course, and I felt like I wasn't satisfied. And I remember the main feeling in the first dream. In the first dream I felt content and curious and like happy and relaxed. Second dream I really felt like confused. And like I guess because I knew that I wanted to ask someone what the date and time was, I actually felt like I didn't know where I was or what time and what the date was. And he just kept he said it's time to get a watch, you know, and he said don't you could figure it out. He said it's up to you to figure it out, you know? And I don't know. So it was very unsatisfying actually, but I want to keep trying. I want to go lucid enough and stay lucid enough to really push the question with a character, you know, and really see where they go with it. I apologize if I sound nasally. I mean, I know I always sound nasally anyway, but I'm really feeling nasally tonight. I got a stuffy nose, and I don't know, I caught something at some point. I know last week I was really feeling it too. I'm just kind of getting over it now. And I really don't get sick. I get sick like once or twice a year, so I guess this is my time. And it's kind of annoying when I'm sitting here live. You know, I don't want to be grabbing tissues in front of you people, so if I need to step off for a minute, you know why. Excuse me. So you know who we've been missing? We've been missing Spirit Hernandez, Carlos. He hasn't. I didn't see him in the last couple lives. Carlos, you here now? If you're tuning in, homie, let me know. We miss you. I love your input. There's so many smart people out there. So many insightful people. Didi, you really bring a good vibe. Didona Dio, she is like, oh, okay, so you said, Didi, you said, I don't know if you ever told us, but I would like to know how it was when you were lucid dreaming for the first time. I don't think I ever talked about that. The problem with that, and I wish I could, like, and I wish I could tell you exactly what the first time was like. And if I really wanted to, I could. I mean, I do. I've got a stack of my old notebooks, like, right there. I know it's in there somewhere. But I know my first time was relatively uneventful. So no, I didn't talk about that. I'd hate to say it, but like my first few lucid dreams were more like uneventful. I mean, the very first time I was laying in bed and I realized that I was dreaming. You know, actually I woke up and you know, I was like I looked outside and it was light and I'm like, "Wait, it's still nighttime." I looked at the clock and the clock wasn't right. And because I had been reading about it so much, it clicked, you know, and I'm like, I must be in a dream. And I think I just like woke myself up. First times. Yeah, the first few times. So honestly, it was a series of that. It was excitement. I was so excited. I used to be so excited. My ultimate goal, which I ended up achieving, but it wasn't until like quite a few times into it. But my ultimate goal was like, I just wanted to fly around and the first few times I was able to fly, so like the first few lucid dreams, it wasn't all that. And then once I realized I could do it, what I wanted to do was fly. And the first notable lucid dream that I had, it was probably like the fifth or sixth or seventh time that I did it. Man, I felt euphoria. I felt excited. I think the main reason that I didn't do much the first few times was because I got so excited that I would wake myself up, which is relatively common, and I've seen that and heard about that with a lot of people. You know, once you realize you're in a dream, you know, the thoughts flood in, the analytical side of your mind floods in, and you pop, you know, your consciousness, you know, you wake yourself up. that's what happened to me. But then the first notable lucid dream I had, I was flying on my mattress. I would use my bed, and I would, because it was still comfortable for me, you know, it wasn't intimidating at all. I felt like I was still, you know, like, if not that it made a difference, but I felt like if I were to fall down to the ground, I still had my mattress underneath me. So I was basically just flying around on my bed over the I went down the road from my where my mom's house was and down into town, and it was dark. And I would go over, you know, I would fly over my friends' houses, and you know, the next day I would tell them that I was doing that. And that's when it ended up turning into like, okay, was I lucid dreaming or having an out-of-body experience? And then I was like, I want to know, and I started trying to astrally project, and you know, started telling my friends, hey, leave stuff out on your bedstands, and I'm going to test to see if I'm dreaming. And all my tests basically told me that I wasn't having out-of-body experiences. So I'm like, okay, these are definitely lucid dreams, but at least I got this down, you know. And then once I felt like I had a good grasp of my lucid dreams, which up to that point was pretty much just flying around on my mattress. I remember one of the first few times I did it, what really surprised me and what was crazy to me, because it was winter time and it gets really cold around here in the Poconos, and it was winter time and I was flying on my mattress, and I had all my blankets covered over me, and I felt safer and comfortable like that. But then I remember feeling like I did feel the wind. That's what's crazy about it, is I feel the wind when I'm in a lucid dream, but it wasn't cold. And and I slowly, you know, I took the blankets off, and I'm like, I could fly around. I don't have to stay covered. And I felt a little bit more open and a little bit more free and a little more comfortable from that. And eventually I got to the point where I was able to kick off of my bed from my room through my ceiling, and I didn't even need my mattress. You know, I felt comfortable enough just to fly around, but that took me a long time. At first I wasn't able to fly without feeling like I needed the comfort of my mattress underneath me. But eventually I broke loose from that, and it was just like pure euphoria. You know, it was amazing. And then it got to the point where I would go to the moon. I wanted to go to the moon, and then I wanted to go to other planets, and I went to what I imagined as Saturn, and I created the rings around Saturn. I think I talked about that. Uh, all types of stuff. I went to Area 51 because I wanted to see what that was like. You said so beautiful. For you, it was like you saw yourself from outside, sleeping on the couch, and woke up looking out the window. You saw an orb of white light flying in the front of your window, and then watching it, it transformed into an angel and calling you to fly together. So you went to fly with the angel after that? That's amazing. See? I never thought about that. And you know, I never thought about the mattress thing until now, until you asked me about my first lucid dream. But maybe you were more, maybe, yeah, maybe because it's so foreign for us, it's not comfortable for us as humans to just go flying around by ourselves. Maybe it helps if we have something to help us feel more comfortable with flying the first few times. Maybe just for certain people. You know, maybe I'm assuming that was one of your first lucid dreams, or maybe your first one. And that makes sense. That would make sense. So the angel kind of guided you out and called you to come fly with that. That's amazing. That's even more amazing, because I did not manifest any angels for a long time. I ended up manifesting all types of characters, you know. Obviously one of the earlier ones, once I knew I had it down, that's when I did the whole Freddy Krueger thing. You started to fly after him, and you went into a building through the wall and landed into an apartment where it was a man with his child. Wow. I wonder I wonder what all that meant. How did you feel? What were you feeling when you were going through that? What were the emotions and what was your mind state? I mean, was it anxious or liberating? Or for me, like I said, for me it was pure euphoria, and I would say curiosity. Curiosity took me over every time I had a lucid dream. Because I know there's so much I want to do and so much I want to see. Euphoria transformed into a heavy feeling when you landed into his apartment. I could imagine. Do you have any type of why is Facebook telling me to send stars to myself? Wow, that's weird. Do you have any idea who that guy might have been or who that kid was? Sorry, I'm listening to the echo from the headphones here. I don't even know. How may I help you? Okay. My baby girl is here to say goodnight. Okay, no, I will bring you upstairs.
Is that you?
That's me. Do you want to say hi to my friends?
Yeah.
Say hi.
Hi.
Okay.
I love you.
She loves you. Okay, everybody, I'll be right back. I'm going to bring her upstairs. Thank you. I will be right back. I apologize, beautiful people. Probably lost everyone by now. It's okay. Baby was supposed to be sleeping a half hour ago, but it's okay. My girl hates it. She hates that I do these things. She thinks it's just a complete waste of time. But that's okay. I know, cute little one. Thank you. My, I'm gonna end up getting my son out here. He wants to. I figured one thing I wanted to do, and it's an idea that my friend gave me a while ago, and that friend actually I'm gonna get him on here once I move to the new house and get my studio set up a little bit better, because this one's kind of small. It's tough to sit two people and get it within the camera view. But oh, what up, Cliff? Good to see you, homie. But once I get the new studio, I'm gonna be interviewing my friend. I know it's not a waste of time. Trust me, I don't need validation on what I'm doing. I believe in everything that I do, and I wouldn't do something that's a waste of time. I don't waste time. Like I really don't. Very, very rarely, like the one guilty pleasure that I have is sometimes, if I am scrolling through Facebook or YouTube and a good UFC fight video pops up, I'll say that's my weakness. If it's a good fight, I like to watch a good fight. I used to love to watch the mixed martial arts. I used to do it. My brother was really into it. I did the few boxing classes when I was younger, and then I did the mixed martial arts classes for a little while, and I was really into it. So once in a while I come across a fight video, I won't let myself sit there for more than like 5 minutes. I don't allow it. But once in a while, I'll get stuck on a fight video, but I don't waste time. Like everything I do is tactical, honestly. Even all the time I spend on social media, I don't scroll through social media at all, just for entertainment. When I'm scrolling, I'm looking for things to engage with to grow my page and spread this knowledge and stuff. Okay, you wrote some more up about the angel. Oh, okay. You're right. I'm sorry. I had to click on it. Okay, in the beginning, so this is in the beginning of your first lucid dream or one of your first lucid dreams. The angel's presence was beautiful, but the man's presence was heavy and scary, and the angel was looking at you while you were thinking about how the angels, beings of love, might feel when they are around us. Don't know who the man or the child was, so you're thinking about how the angels might feel being around you and the man and the child. Okay. The man's presence was heavy and scary. That is interesting. That is interesting. No idea. You don't know who the man or the child was. Could have been a lot of different people. There's got to be some significance to it, though. I could imagine, or even just what it would represent subconsciously for you. Um, you know, maybe like but the feeling was scary. Yeah, I wonder, like, after that, did you go on? Were you intrigued? Did you want to lucid dream more? I know I asked you, like, in the last time we talked, if you ever went back to some of those wicked dreams that you had. But like, did you practice lucid dreaming for a while to try to explore that realm? Or I mean, I know you're a heightened thinker, and I know your level of awareness is definitely heightened. So these are things that you're obviously in tune with. But I feel like if you could harness that, there's a lot of different answers we can find out about ourselves. Like I always say, I've never been good at like recreating or going back into a reoccurring dream, but I mean I have done it, usually, like I said, it turns into a slightly different type of dream, but sometimes vastly different, actually. But so, just when you woke up near the ceiling, no, you didn't practice. Yeah, see, I feel like someone like you with such a natural, heightened sense of awareness would be able to harness that and do almost anything you can imagine. And maybe you could figure out who that man and that child were, or what they were supposed to represent to you, or subconsciously what the symbolism was. I'm always, because that's what I do. I dig. I dig. What up, Cliff? You're having a dinner feast. Cliff is feasting. Okay. Good for you, homie. That's beautiful. I had some shrimp and grits when I got home. It was amazing. I ate pretty good today. I usually don't eat very well on Fridays because Fridays are one of my busiest days at work. But today we were actually not too busy, and I was able to get everything done on time and actually leave work on time, that never happens to me on a Friday. I usually leave later, while everybody else always leaves early on a Friday because it's Friday. They've had enough for the week. I always end up getting stuck there later, but by choice. But I like to have my area cleaned up nice and all that before I leave. Leave it nice for the guys on the weekend, hoping that they'll reciprocate it. And lately they have been, so I love the people I work with. I work with a lot of great people. Linda Grona is one of them. Linda, you're a beautiful soul. I don't know if you're still here, but I really, really I love my job. I don't want to be there forever. I know that I could provide a lot more value to the world, but I love my job. You never thought about that dream in the analysis point of view, but maybe it was your father and you. I didn't want to say that, but that's what I was thinking. I didn't know because I don't want to put anyone's personal business out there. I don't, most of the stuff about you and your father you told me in private messages, so I didn't want to mention that. But that's exactly what I was thinking. You were afraid of him. You always felt like you needed to keep out of his way. I'm just saying, yeah. Honestly, I didn't want to dig into that too much on the live, honestly. Like, if we were having a private conversation, I would have said that, because that's what I was thinking, But yeah, and you know what, and honestly, I appreciate you so much for being as open as you have been. Because I know how it can be when we're public like this, and I see, and I used to be one of those people that was like, don't let the internet spy on you and all that stuff, and all this privacy stuff. And I mean, I still believe in privacy and all that, but it's like, I'm not trying to overthrow the government. Like, I'm not pushing any type of extreme agendas to where I really have to worry about that. Maybe one day if I do, I'll worry about that more. But it's funny because it's like, and my mom is like that. My mom's very like anti-technology. Like, my mom just wants to have a cabin in the woods, and she has like a little laptop that she keeps at home. She doesn't even know how to use it, but my stepdad will watch YouTube sometimes. He doesn't even know how to use it, but it's funny because my mom covers up the little camera on her laptop with a piece of tape, and like, I get it, and I respect it, and I can appreciate that, but it's like, Mom, ain't nobody watching you. Ain't nobody looking through your camera, and if they are, they're just seeing your living room wall, and like, they might see you walk by, and she's like, oh, well, what if I'm naked? And it's like, nobody's watching to catch a glimpse of you. Like, I'm not as paranoid as I used to be, so like, I've come full circle, and like, here I am live with my family showing up in the background, But Dee Dee, I say all that just to say that, like, I appreciate you being open, and it seems like this space that we've created online is a comfortable, safe space. Like people, like a few people have asked me, like, how do I deal with all the haters online? You know, like, how do I deal with all the drama and the trolls? And like, sure, I do have ways of dealing with them, but I really don't encounter many haters or trolls or any. Erica, you said you covered your computer camera for years. I get it, and honestly, I did too with my cell phone, like when I first got it. You know, I think it's natural for humans to like we're trying to hold on to some little bit of privacy that we have, even though like it's basically all gone anyway. And I think we all have to accept the fact that like there's no hiding from it unless you want to go live off the grid and, you know, grow your own vegetables and stuff, which I think we all want to do that, but we all know it's not as easy these days as, I mean, it's never easy. So here we are with technology. We may as well accept it. Like, unless you have like a really crazy stalker looking for you, which we all know that's a possibility, but like, you know, if it's been some time, the internet's so big, it's so tough. You know, nobody's specifically looking for you. You know? You know that, Erica. Like, nobody who's out there actually trying to see what your camera's seeing on your computer, you know? And I feel the same way. And you know what? I'm at the point where, like, if they want to spy on me, cool. Like, I might be scratching my ass. You're not going to see much. So, like, have fun, you know? Like, I ain't got nothing to hide anyway, so. Now, like, it does get scary when you become a public figure trying to spread certain messages, even if it's a positive message. We all know that there's a lot of people out there that like to tear down positivity. But I feel like as long as we put that positive out and build it on a positive foundation and surround it with positive walls, I feel like we can keep a positive, safe space. You know, ain't nobody trying to spy on us. I mean, they are, but like only so they can advertise to us and make money off of us. Ain't nobody trying to put us in no black boxes or nothing. Or, you know, my mom's always like, well, what if they get a video of me and they post it on the internet for everyone to see? And I'm like, nobody's even gonna care. Like, you'd be lucky if you got a lot of views. Like, in your line of work, they told you openly that your phones and internet are watched. But they're not after you, the little ones. They're after the big fishes. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So, like, maybe if I was really stirring the pot, I would worry about it. But, like, and I used to be very, very, like, if you scroll back far enough on my Facebook, you'll see that I was, like, very anti-government, anti-establishment, like, you know, down with the system, revolutionary type. So back then, and I'm like, you know, and we all know that the government likes to make people like that disappear, but like, I was still a very, very small fish. So I realize now there was nothing for me to worry about. But, you know, and I do, like I said, I appreciate privacy and I respect that. And when I do want my privacy, like, I'll get it. But like, you know, when I'm out there walking the trails and I will just put my phone away, that's when I get my privacy, feel like there's no eyes on me at all. We all know even the satellites can see us from above though, so like whatever, like here we are. You know, it's 2023 and anybody who's old enough to remember like the time before cell phones were so popular, like we're in a new age now, and I mean, we have to accept it. And I think it's best to embrace it and not resist it, and try to work with it through love instead of fear and anxiety. And that is exactly what I'm doing here, and that's why I'm doing this. You know, someone literally just told me today, like, keep your privates, keep your what exactly did he say? I forget exactly what he said, but keep your personal life off out of the media. And like, I get it. I get it. But, man, I'm not worried about no trolls. There's really nothing that anyone can say to me or do to me. I mean, I guess like the biggest fear for most people would be either the government making you disappear, but we're not worried about that. So like what? A weird stalker that might find you online and try to track you down? Like I get that, and I get that for females too. Like I guess maybe you should be extra careful, but like they got to be really, really good unless you're putting your location out there. Like they got to be really good to like track your IP address and like find your actual physical location, although we all know it's very possible. Like most people aren't doing that, especially weirdos like that. But and I mean maybe they are. And I guess if I was a female or something I'd be a little more worried, but right now I'm definitely not worried about anyone rolling up on me. They'd have to like really prepare themselves to be able to, catch me, because I always keep something within reach, and I got the pit bull outside around the house at all times, so like I don't need security. Maybe one day I will, if I'm worried about those weirdos. Did I meet any beautiful beings into lucid dreaming, like beings of light or aliens? Just yes, I met all types of things. So I went to Area 51 first and foremost, and they were claymation figures, and I don't believe that this is what is at Area 51. This is what I experienced in my lucid dream. I mean, shit, for all we know, maybe it is, but so I went to Area 51, and it wasn't what Area 51 would be, and it's not even what I picture it as in my mind, which is interesting, because I went there and I'm in the lucid dream, and I'm like, this isn't it. Like I flew over. When I'm traveling in a dream, I fly over the map, and I can see myself flying over the map, and it looks like the map underneath me. And I took myself to Area 51, and it was the ground was colorful. Dark blue, dark reds, dark blue and dark reds, all different colors, patches, swirls all over the ground. And I'm like, where's the desert? I was so confused. And I'm like, I know I'm in the right place. And then these claymation figures were walking all around me, and they were fascinated with me, and they were telling me, no, you've made it, you're the one. And they were moving in almost like a stop motion type of motion. And the group of them, they're like, you're the one. No, you've made it. This is the place. And I'm like, this isn't what I wanted. I wanted Area 51 with like aliens, and although these things kind of resembled aliens, they did. I mean, they did resemble what we would imagine as grays. I guess maybe they weren't as skinny. They were thicker. Thick necks, thick heads, but still the general shape of how we picture the gray aliens, but because they were almost like claymation, like their arms were thicker, like they were made out of clay. And they just kept pointing to the sun, and the group of them kept looking to the sun, and they kept saying, you're the one. And they kept trying to get me to look at the sun, and they kept looking back at me and wondering why I wasn't like, almost as if I was supposed to do something, and I wasn't doing it for them. And I'm like, I didn't want to look at the sun. Like, I wanted to see spaceships. I wanted to see how you achieve interdimensional travel. And I felt like I was in such a primitive, although it was like they were alien type figures, I felt like they were like a Stone Age version of aliens. Like they were like, these guys are made out of clay. They were real rudimentary. They didn't seem like highly intelligent. I felt like I was talking to a group of kids or something. But beings of light. So there was a period of time in my life where I was obsessed with like sacred geometry. And my friend Jimmy, he knows about this, and I'm sure I've told him about this dream back in the day too. But I've felt like I had met what some would call the voice of God, and this was my manifestation of it, and it was Metatron. I believe Metatron is what is the voice of God. Am I wrong about that? Let me double check. But I was fascinated with sacred geometry at the time. Yeah. Yeah, Metatron was the angel of the Lord that would speak to humans, because they say, the voice of God is too powerful for any man to handle or whatever. Wow, see, I love reading about this stuff. So yeah, Metatron is supposedly a high-ranking angel. And listen, I was never a Catholic. I was never into the church or the Bible like that. But I was fascinated with sacred geometry, and there's the ultra-dimensional shape that they call Metatron's cube. And it is like, I wish eventually I'm gonna get my shit together here, and I'll be able to screen share here, so I can look stuff up and then share it on my screen with you guys here. You dreamed about aliens and you saw a spaceship, about dangers at some point. At some point you wanted to order at some point they wanted to order a hit on you. At some point you wanted to order a hit on yourself, or they wanted to order a hit on you, but you didn't have that kind of connection. What do you mean? Like you wanted to or they wanted to hire someone to kill you? Or you wanted to hire them to kill you, like a suicide almost, but trying to get the aliens to do it? I don't understand. That's interesting. Me, yeah. Okay, so well, that's funny. Didn't have that kind of connection. Well, yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of things wrong with that would make that complicated and difficult. What was the spaceship like? How did that feel? I never saw the spaceship. I believe I've seen UFOs in real life, but not in my dreams. And also, my friend Jimmy, same one, who I used to talk to back when I was obsessed with the sacred geometry and all that, he was with me. He was one of the people we definitely saw some interesting things flying in the sky that were unexplainable at the time. Nowadays, it's like they were probably drones, but this was way before anyone had even been talking about that type of stuff. So yeah, Metatron's cube, I was fascinated with that and sacred geometry, and I felt like I felt a strong connection with that, the representation of that shape, because Metatron's cube represents a hyper-dimensional shape that can't actually exist in 3D, but it does have, but it is a shape. It's just not quite conceivable to the human mind in a 3D format. The spaceship was amazing. It was gliding above you. You saw it with details like in sci-fi movies. Wow. See, that's what I wanted. That's what I was looking for when I went to Area 51. But I mean, I didn't force it, but obviously, like, I just got a bunch of claymation dum-dums. Not really. Not really. It was still interesting, and I still felt, actually, when I woke up, I really felt empowered, and I felt like I had found a piece of myself because they kept telling me you're the one, you know. So like I don't know, maybe it made me feel special. And then they kept pointing at the sun. And in the dream, I didn't in the dream I didn't see the significance of that, and I felt kind of disappointed. But I woke up afterwards like feeling feeling like what were they actually trying to tell me? Like why wouldn't I just follow what they were telling me? You know, I should have either like tried to see what they were pointing at, which I did. They were pointing at the sun, but I would barely glance at it. I felt like at the time I felt like why do they keep trying to get me to look away? Like I'm trying to get their attention and ask them questions. Stop trying to make me look at the sun. So I didn't want to like give them the satisfaction of me sitting there staring at the sun to try to see. So I barely would like glance at it, and I just kept looking back at them, and I'm like, what, like this isn't like where's all the cool stuff, you know? You need to go more into Metatron. Don't know much about Metatron representation. Is it a tesseract? It's not exactly a tesseract, but similar. Yes, you're on the right track. It is I mean, if you just type in Metatron's cube, I wish I could do screen shares. I know there's a way to do it. Not right now. I have to use that software that I have, the live stream app, and I'll be able to like I can Google stuff and then pop it up real quick for you to see it. Or I mean, can I flip the phone? I can't flip the phone. Okay, but that's like zoomed in. Huh. Yeah, if you just look up Metatron's cube, honestly, like I haven't even looked this stuff up or read anything about it in so many years. There was one point in time when I could have told you a lot more about it. But there's some connection between the shape and the idea of Metatron being the highest order of angels. You know, Metatron is just one step down from God. He's above the rest of the angels. Yeah. The name Metatron itself is derived from Greek and means beyond the throne, or one who occupies the throne next to God. Yeah, Metatron is described as the scribe or the recorder of heavenly deeds, as well as the mediator between humanity and the divine. Yeah, serving as the voice or the messenger of God. Uh, yeah, and then, okay, so Metatron's cube is composed of 13 equal circles that are interconnected in a specific pattern. Circles are often arranged in a two-dimensional hexagonal lattice within the pattern. Various geometric shapes, including triangles, hexagons, and others, can be found. The lines connecting the circles form a complex web of shapes and lines. Yeah. So, did I meditate with him? If yes, what did you feel? People do that a lot. You saw it in a lot of groups. Yeah, I've seen that too. I did not, excuse me. I did not meditate with Metatron. I flew with Metatron. I talked with Metatron, asked Metatron all types of questions, and it's so funny because every time he would answer me back with a question, and that's one of the times when I realized that every answer leads to more questions was because of him. I did not meditate with him, but I have meditated with Metatron's cube, if that makes sense. So, like I said, if you look at the shape of Metatron's cube, it's like it's not three-dimensional. It can represent an ultra-dimensional figure, and so I would meditate to that shape. I would actually, I mean, I used to draw it. I have somewhere around here. I have my compass and my ruler. My sister gave it to me. It's a nice little kit, and I haven't used it in so many years. But I used to draw the mandalas and all types of different sacred geometric shapes with it. And I would draw one. I would go over the circles over and over and over until it was extra bold. And then by the time I'm done with that, it would be so implanted in my mind, I would close my eyes and meditate on these shapes. And what did I feel? There was times where I felt literally nothingness in a good way. I felt white. I felt whiteness. I felt like I was in pure light, made of pure light, barely connected or barely had any recollection of me physically, of like who I am, to the point where when I came back to it, I almost cried because I was like, wow, it was beautiful, overwhelming. I felt nothing but love. So I cried, just feeling overwhelmed with emotion. Not bad, but one of the emotions was like I almost completely lost myself and I was like, almost felt like I had betrayed myself when I came back from the meditation. I was like, you didn't even know who you, like, I almost lost myself. I didn't remember who I was. I was like, that's how easily you can be forgotten. I was telling myself, I'm like, that's how easily I can be forgotten. It's like, I just clicked over in this meditation and wasn't even myself anymore. Like for those few moments, I literally didn't even exist. Everything that had ever happened in my life up to that point, it was like I didn't realize it when I was in the experience, but when I came back, I was like, wow, when I was in that experience, I had no connection to my actual self, which is strange. And I did that more than once and had basically similar results every time. I feel like it got less intense every time maybe, but I did do that more than once. So I would meditate to the geometric shapes. But no, I never meditated with anyone, or never tried to meditate with, and I don't know why. And the idea of it still doesn't feel good to me. I don't know why. I mean, I know it can be good. I know it can be powerful. I mean, I guess I'm lying. I guess I did meditate with my ex. Not that she would ever watch this or be able to call me out on it. But yeah, I don't want to lie. Me and her did do meditations together. We tried different Kundalini meditations. Sorry, the dog's barking. I feel when it comes to meditation, I feel like anybody else or anything else like that would kind of throw me off. And I could be wrong, and I know. Oh, what's up, Angela? How you doing? I'm glad you made it. Really glad you're here. You're awesome. Dee Dee, you said you were meditating once with Kali's mantra, and at some point you found yourself watching a yellow-orange sun on a yellow-orange sky. You were in another dimension or another world, couldn't see, but the feeling was overwhelming. Overwhelming love that embraced you, and like a oneness of beings that were so happy you were there, and they were all loving you so much. I guess that's very similar to kind of what I experienced. I mean, mine was like white light, and I was definitely I didn't feel like I was in another dimension. I felt like I was dimensionless. Very tough to explain. But the feeling of love and oneness, yeah, that's definitely that was the predominant feeling that I had at the time was oneness, was that I was not anything, or I guess you could say I was everything, but I didn't feel anything, and that there was this world, this physical reality wasn't even a fragment in my mind, or whatever you want to call it, when I was in that that state, that mind state, that trance-like state of meditation. It's interesting though. It's I've also meditated and gone into the darkness, you know, kind of willingly but apprehensively at the same time. Knowing that, I mean, I've never been afraid of any type of demons or I've that's never I've never been worried about getting possessed, and a lot of people worry about that when you're dabbling with some of these things. And maybe just that subconscious worry is what might make you susceptible. Maybe not. Maybe not at all. I could be wrong about that. But I've never had any type of fear of a spirit. You said, yeah, might be better put into words, dimensionless. Yeah. Yeah, dimensionless. Right. When I was in that state, yeah, 'cause there was no relative point for me to subjectively compare to. You know, it was nothing but wide open whiteness, wide open light. And there was no recollection, conscious or subconscious, of some sort of physical world to me. And that's why I basically cried when I came back to, when I woke up, or when I came out of the meditation. I really wanted to cry, because I'm like, this whole world didn't exist for my life. Everything in my life didn't even exist. But I mean, I wasn't like sad, and I wasn't scared, and I still felt overwhelmed with like love and euphoria. It was just such an overwhelming feeling in general that I wanted to like break down and cry afterwards. It's pretty crazy. It's so beautiful. Yeah, I guess it is beautiful. It is, and I wonder. Sorry, my leg is like cramping. I wonder if that is what we experience when we die and go back to the source. And I mean, that's what gets complicated, because it's like that that source that source is timeless, and I'm sure if you've been there too, in whatever your version of that would have been, I'm sure if you've been there, you know that it feels like time doesn't exist, although it had to have, because you're back here at this point. But like, so I mean, do we enter into the infinite light, instead of people feel like when we die we go into an infinite darkness? Do we go into just the infinite light? And is that the feeling that we have forever? Because from this human perspective that I have right now, that sounds depressing. But I know when I experienced that in my meditation, it was nothing but pure. I felt nothing but love. I felt it wasn't, I mean, it wasn't like, I don't even want to say it was good or great, because those concepts didn't even feel like they existed. But love, in the sense that like caring, pure. I don't know how to explain it, but I've definitely felt pure love. And like it didn't matter. Not like none of this physical stuff mattered. It didn't even exist for me at that moment. So it didn't matter. I guess I wouldn't have missed it. And I guess you could sit in that infinite eternal light forever and not know the difference because you don't have any. Who knows? I'm not trying to say those as definitive statements or claims. Just just asking questions, like I wonder. And we know through the law of transmutation that like energy never stays the same. It always changes form and moves into and out of being. So, but who knows? Like between these lives that we live, is that the middle ground? The Are there, I guess there's probably different levels, different middle grounds, different transitory dimensions between our lives. Maybe sometimes it's darkness, maybe sometimes it's light. Maybe that's what heaven and hell would be represented as. I don't know. You guess love and timelessness. Yeah. That's this strange, eerie thing about it, is that it was timeless when I was there. Time definitely didn't exist. But at the same time, that experience had a beginning and an end. Or maybe it did, perceivably. Maybe it didn't. Maybe, we're all existing in that infinite space of light at all times. And maybe that is the energy that feeds these individual experiences that we have. Maybe that is the collective consciousness that Carl Jung always refers to. I don't know. It's all about that hard problem of consciousness. Yo, Cliff, I know me and you got onto the idea of consciousness back there. I'm curious to see how you feel about that. I know you believe that all living things have consciousness. And I guess I believe that too, but I can't help but feel like there's different levels to it. Dee, you've seldom seen light. Usually it's a cozy darkness. Yes. Yeah, now we didn't get into that yet, but I've also meditated into the darkness in that sense, and is also beautiful and not negative in any type of way. I never struggled with the darkness. What up, Cliff? What does that mean? Okay, you vaping right now, homie? I feel you. I rolled up a few for the night. Like I said, my throat and my nose are still a little bit messed up. I'm telling you, these were perfect blunts when they started out. But I sat on them when I first came out here. For some reason, the laptop just went dark. Okay. Okay, we got it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I rolled a couple backup spliffs too, so Cliff, I'm ready for you tonight, homie. If I gotta plug the phone in, I will. I don't mind. The issue is the reason it died on me last time. I don't know if I told you, but since I figured out how to hook up the good microphone, I have to plug it in the same spot that the charger plugs into. But instead now, the mic's plugged in there, and my phone is powering the mic. So I feel like that drains the battery more. Plus, I can't charge it while I'm doing it, but whatever. We'll figure it out. If I have to unplug this mic and plug the charger in, we'll do that. But yeah, that's all very interesting. The cozy darkness. When you're, I wonder, when you're in that cozy darkness, do you still feel a sense of, do you feel that love that we were talking about? That same love that I feel in the light? 'Cause I love the darkness. I've always naturally gravitated towards the darkness. Like even when I was younger, I felt more comfortable just walking in the shadows. Always wearing darker clothes, trying to blend in with the darkness. You know, I would always, I would read about like how different Native American tribes would, like if they were going to war, they would keep themselves in the dark tent or the dark shelter all day so that their eyes would be better adjusted at night. And like I said, when I was younger, I used to say I want to grow up to be a Native American and live in Montana and build my own log cabin. So when I was younger, like I would do that. I would try to spend like all the day in the darkness. You know, these are like summers when I was a young kid, you know. And then I would travel at night. I would love to just explore the forest at night. And then there would be some rough times where like I'm hearing crazy sounds because like there is coyotes and bears and all that out here. I would always have a weapon on me, and like there were certain nights where I was relieved because the full moon would make it easier for me to see, and there were certain there's we don't need to get into all that, but like there was times where the full moon really saved me. You know, I thought I was badass in the dark, but little did I know sometimes I needed that light, and the moon provided me with just enough light to get me back home sometimes in some crazy situations. And I actually made a song about it called Midnight Moonlight. I made that song when I was like 15 or 16 maybe. And I still have it, and it's still one of my favorite songs. In the meditation, you feel your body vanishes, and it's a peaceful and silent infinite openness, like you're expanding into the universe. That feeling of expanding. Have you ever seen your children in your lucid dreaming? No, not in a lucid dream. No, but now that you said that, I bet you I will. And I'll tell you what happens. Because I'm going to be thinking about that now. No, I have seen my kids in my dreams, but not when I've gone lucid, at least. Yeah, no, definitely not. So when you're in the darkness, you feel your body vanishes, and it's a peaceful and silent infinite openness, like you're expanding into the universe. I can feel that. I can feel that sensation of expanding. I know what you mean. Like, yeah, but still, it's not the overwhelming love that you feel when you experience the light, right? Because that's how it is for me, at least. That's interesting. Not, and again, not that the darkness was negative in any type of way for me. I always enjoyed it, but it wasn't love. Love is light, and light is love. And you know, just like with the yin yang, like one is not necessarily good and bad. Yeah, Cliff, I see you with the dark and the light. You don't feel love, and that's frustrating because everybody says it's love, but it's just silence and peace. Different. Really? That's interesting. Right, but in the light you feel the love, right? Because you said you were in another dimension, but it was an overwhelming love that embraced you, like a oneness of beings. Yeah, just silence and peace. I feel you on that. I can get that. Yeah, the silence and the stillness. When I'm in the white light, I also don't feel like it's pure silence. Maybe I feel like it's a constant, like what they would call like a white noise, just like a, maybe it is the collection of the frequencies of the collective consciousness. I don't know. A lot of these things I've actually like haven't even thought about in so long. So it's cool that you're making me dig back into my mind again about some of this. So eventually I should do some dream sessions where I open up the notebooks. I never wanted to, I've never been one to share my dreams with people. Maybe that's why I'm like desperately reaching out doing these lives also, because like everybody has always told me their dreams, and I've always asked people about their dreams, and I've always asked questions and been fascinated. And like I've said before in the past, like people love to tell you their dreams. There's something like naturally about it that I've noticed that like if you inquire, someone will spill it all. They love people love to share their dreams if they can remember them. Not everyone, I guess. I'm sure there's exceptions to that rule. Or maybe it's just maybe my curiosity is what drives people, but people have always told me about their dreams. They love to for some reason. And even there's times where I don't want to hear it and I'm not in the mood, but like I'll listen anyway. I don't know why, but like I end up being interested anyway. Like even if I don't want to hear it at first, they'll say something, I'll be like, "All right, let's pick this apart." And I gotta ask them some questions to dig into it because it really fascinates me. I really feel like it's a window into the mind. But so with that being said, I never or very rarely explain my dreams to people. Only because a lot of times I feel like my stuff might sound so outlandish that I don't want people to think I'm making things up. I don't want anyone to think like I'm just telling stories or just trying to like brag about, because I've got to a point where I would go to sleep almost every night or at least a few nights a week and lucid dream and do whatever I want, and I would look forward to going to sleep. I would get so excited. Throughout the day I would be thinking about what I'm going to do in my dream that night. So like I got to the point where I'm like, I can't just go around telling people about this, because first off, anytime I do, it almost seems like no one really wants to hear it anyway, and it seems like I'm way more excited than they are, so like I'll just shut up about it then. And I don't want people to think I'm lying and think I'm just like a weirdo making stuff up. I don't know. So I mean, 99% of my dreams no one has ever heard about until I started doing these videos and stuff and talking about some of them. But with that being said, I've lost so many in my mind, and a lot of times I don't remember them until something comes up and triggers it and reminds me. So I would love to go through some of my notebooks and read out some of my dreams if anyone would be interested. I mean, I'm not trying to like sit here and pour out a diary on people, so I don't, whatever. Maybe I won't do that, but I have a lot. I have a lot of dreams written down throughout the years, and I have them all dated. You said, yes, it feels like different levels maybe. You don't know how to express it. When you're love, you feel like you're a river or an ocean of love, embracing the universe. The Y-O universe, yeah. You would like to hear about my dreams, and you have the same feeling like me. That's why you kept for yourself. Yeah, no, please. I want to hear it. I want to hear people's dreams. The amount of things I've learned about myself from hearing other people's dreams and just thinking about it, even just tonight so far, like some of the things you said, like even if I knew these things, I don't consciously acknowledge them enough. So I feel like it's like these things are great. I love hearing about people's dreams. I really do. It's amazing to me actually. Only because like for so many reasons. I don't know. I haven't. Okay. So last time, Dee Dee, I wanted to apologize for last time because I had all types of technical difficulties while we were trying to talk. I felt like it was so rude because I went back and watched the replay and I was like fidgeting and getting off camera and looking underneath. I guess I do that a lot, but like I was not very well set up last time. I was dealing with tangled wires and you know, it's just hopefully this is all good and I can stay focused now. So yeah, I also what I wanted to say before about my kids, my neighbor, my good friend who I'm gonna end up interviewing. The thing is he's not gonna split the screen and jump on online like that with me, but he will come and he'll sit here in the studio with me and we could talk. And he's a smart dude. He really is. He's got a great speaking voice and he's insightful. And me and him can, although he's not like his specific interests aren't quite as like esoteric and abstract as some of this, he's still like familiar with enough of it for me to bounce ideas back and he's just like a coherent person, so he picks up what I'm putting down all the time, if you know what I mean. Like as I say it, he's a smart dude, very smart, and he's inspiring too. So he's got a good story. And Erica, you popped up on my messages here. What? My I'm gonna send you a heart. Is this working? Is this I wonder if this is on my personal page. I haven't even checked. You said, "Oh, come on, it's okay. Don't worry about that." You realized I had tech difficulties? Yeah, it was it's so annoying. So annoying. Like, and at one point when me and you were talking in my headphones, it was uh like ringing, like there was a weird frequency. And that's why I thought I kept asking you if it was squeaky, because it was for me at the time. But then in the playback, I didn't hear it. But at the time, it was driving me crazy, and I thought maybe it was like some sort of feedback between the mic and the headphones. And then I started thinking maybe it's because the wires, like the wire from the mic cable is touching the power cable, and like I was like separating the wires so they weren't touching at all and stuff. I don't know. I'm not a tech genius at all. I'm the opposite. But yeah, so what my friend I've been talking about, I'm gonna bring him on once I get probably when I get my new studio set up, because like I said, this one's tough for two people. But his idea was to get the kids on and ask them questions about these things, all of these types of questions that we ponder as adults, and just because every time when he's talking to his son, I've known me and him go way back. I knew him from back when I was younger, but his son is like around my son's age, and so they're best friends literally. And so, but like, and his kid's smart too. He's a smart young boy. The kids these days are just, they're so sharp. They're so insightful. So, and that's what gave him the idea, was talking to his kid. And then like when he brought it up, I was like, man, some of the conversations that I have with my kids, like, yeah, they do say some amazing stuff sometimes. It's either amazing or it's really funny, or it's like some kids have this ingrained wisdom, this natural wisdom. And it's like, damn, where'd you get that from? Like, kids are amazing. So yeah, I would love to do like some live sessions with the kids and, hammer down some of these complex questions just to see how they interpret them. and maybe we could bring all the kids in together and have a discussion, or maybe I'll do more of a solo one-on-one with them. But my one son, Elijah, he keeps begging me to come out here and get on one of these lives. The thing is, I do it at 10, and like that's his bedtime. We do let him stay up later on the weekends if he wants to, but like he's sleeping now, so maybe I'll do that separately. Like I'll do a Sunday morning thing with the kids or something. I don't know, but I thought it was a fun idea. And then my oldest, Jaden, he is like, that boy is so smart. He's 14 years old, and like, not only is he the best kid I could imagine as far as a teenager goes, because man, when I was 14, I was doing everything that I wouldn't want my kids to do. Except that I never really got into hard drugs. Actually, not at all. But everything else, smoking and drinking and then all that, all the craziness, absolute insanity when I was 14 years old. This boy is like, he's so smart, he's so responsible. I'm so proud of him. I mean, I don't want to go. I could go on and on about him all day, but I trust him with anything, and he's never failed a test, if you know what I mean. Like, and I listen to these kids when they don't know I'm listening, and I watch a lot when they don't know I'm watching, and I'm just so proud of them. Like, all of them, but especially the oldest one. He has really grown into such an amazing, responsible, great man. Like, I don't look at his phone anymore. I don't invade his privacy whatsoever, because I did for so long, and he never wavers. When he does, it's so, the little bit that he does waver, I give it to him, because he's so well behaved otherwise that, like, I'll let him get a few once in a while, if he catches a little bit of an attitude once in a while, I'm like, it's natural. If that's the worst he does, or, if he gets in trouble for something stupid in school once in a while, like, he doesn't do anything wrong. He's made honor roll consistently. He works. He's been saving his money. Like, his mom opened up the bank account for him, and he's just smart about everything. And he's fascinated with history, mostly for some reason war history. He like World War II is his thing. And he knows more about all that stuff than I do, and I've studied that stuff a lot too, and I've been fascinated with it too. But like, he's in it right now actively. Not only like he's learning about it in school, but he's always been interested in that type of stuff anyway. And man, he's so smart. He wants to do fencing. We signed him up for fencing. He's a big boy. He's bigger than me, and everyone wants him to play football or basketball or something, but he wants to do fencing. They don't offer that in the school, so we signed him up separately. I got him a fencing sword and the jacket and the mask for Christmas. He's just such a great kid. Anything he wants, I want to give it to him. I'm gonna stop bragging now. Thank you. They are a beautiful family. I try to be an awesome dad. It's tough to spend as much time with them as I would like to. Children are cute, and their wisdom sometimes amazes you. Purity, innocence, creativity, original points of view. That's what it is, right? To really see an original point of view. Not that, I mean, we all know, like, no idea is technically original, but yes, so much more original than what you get from an adult. It's so much less tainted, and, they're starting from such a cleaner slate, and sometimes I think it helps give us good perspective. Sometimes we all need to be knocked back a little bit by that perspective of the child, and I think that's valuable for all of us. Actually, there's an amazing book about that called The Little Prince, and it's one of the greatest books of all time. I would recommend it to anyone. So, what else do we want to talk about? I got a lot. I mean, I have eventually I'm gonna start preparing for these lives, and I'm gonna lay out a bunch of bullet points, and I'll be able to share the screen with you guys, and we could talk about some of these things that I read about throughout the week. But I'm not there yet. I'm barely able to even get out here on time and do what I'm doing. So, but I am getting better in general. Like at first it was tough for me to post content every day online. Now I've gotten to the point where my content is pre-planned and I have so much to work with. It's like, that's not an issue at all. I'm able, if I want to, I'm able to post once or multiple times every day across all the platforms I use without even having to worry about where I'm going to come up with content. And I've learned all types of strategies, so I'm past that. So eventually I'll get to the point where I'm able to prepare for these lives and like plan some bullet points ahead of time. I mean, at the moment I've got so many screenshots and so many notes I've taken here of different things I want to talk about and make videos about. And I do have questions still from way back when I was asking about, questions for a Q&A. And I was afraid I would run out of questions and not have enough to talk about, when really it's turned into like I've got too much to talk about. I go off on so many rants, I don't even get to the questions, and I still haven't gotten. I've got so many. Is there a breathing technique that can help enter into lucid dreaming? That's a good question. Yes, there definitely is. And I don't know what it is or exactly what it would be. And I've never done that. Because, lucid dreaming is when you're asleep. And I've always done that breathing technique that I made that video about to make me go to sleep. But I would imagine I could look that up, and I would like to look that up, because you generally have one set breathing pattern while you're sleeping, and that pattern is like what I had talked about before. And I didn't do any examples of it because I felt like it would sound like stupid, and I don't know if it would help anyone. But I 100% believe there could be a breathing technique that would help you get into a lucid dream, because you enter different stages throughout the night, and different stages are represented by different brain activity, and that brain activity determines your heart rate 100%. So they know that, like, if you're dreaming about something crazy, your heart rate's going to go up, which would affect your breathing for sure. So when you're and lucid dreaming occurs during REM sleep. So I wonder if I'm sure they have tracked the breathing patterns of sleepers throughout the night to see exactly what their breaths per minute would be, so how quick are they breathing in and out, and how deep are they breathing, what. I'm sure there's a way. I'm going to look into that, and I'll get back to you on that. Because if you really start digging, there's been so many studies done on sleep and dreaming, and that's what I've been getting into recently. It's sorry. It's not as easy to find these experiments because, like, a lot of these scientific journals don't provide like clickbait type of headlines. The ones that do are the ones that you obviously end up hearing more about, but a lot of these experiments are so they're so like niche specific that, like, if you're not in that world, you're not even going to hear about them. But they do them all the time. There's always different types of sleep studies going on. and just like incredible results. You know, people. I feel like people don't talk about it enough. I think I was talking about the last time, and I talked about how I was gonna post a video about it, and I'm still gonna. I have different clips I recorded and different screenshots I took to. Did I start breathing techniques for going into sleep or to help me sing? I don't know what I first started using breathing techniques for, uh, but I've used breathing techniques to help me go into sleep and to help me sing. Actually, you know what? It would have been to help me sleep first because I started writing music. Well, I actually wrote my mom's wedding song when I was really young. Like I was a really little kid. And that was more of like a Frank Sinatra type of singing song. And the title, and I'm sure she still has it somewhere on a little scraggly paper. I mean, I think I was like 6 years old when she got married, but I wrote this song, and it was something like Love in the Moonlight. I know the word moon was in the title. So that's interesting too, and I didn't actually think about that till now. But so I've been writing music for a while, but I didn't start writing raps until I was 12. I didn't seriously start like recording my songs until I was like 13, 14, and that's when I started practicing breathing techniques for my songs. So way before that, I was practicing different breathing techniques for meditation and sleep. I was always my brother was very much into martial arts like I was saying earlier. And Bruce Lee was like my idol, and I had a book that was a collection of Bruce Lee quotes that were not about fighting. It was called Striking Thoughts, but it was all of his thoughts because we had all of his books about different fighting techniques and his Jeet Kune Do. But this book was supposed to not be about fighting. It was his philosophies of the mind and life. And Bruce Lee had different. I don't know if he ever laid out like specific breathing techniques, but he would talk about meditation and sitting and breathing deep and just letting the air pass through you. And uh, so I was practicing breathing at a very young age. I mean, I was really young into Bruce Lee and stuff and martial arts, not karate, but actual effective martial arts, you know. But then, yeah, once I started recording my raps, I realized, because back in the day we were recording old school, I was recording on cassette tapes, and you would have to play the beat, play the instrumental on one side, and then hit record on the other side, and you would have to do the entire song in one take, or me and my homies mostly it was me. I was the main one always rapping. Me and my brothers used to do freestyles, but we would do hours and hours of freestyles just off the top of the head. But if I would write a song, I would have to do it all in one take. So I would have to write it in a way to where I could do that, and I would also have to really practice my breath control. And but then I wasn't like militant about it until I started doing live shows. And I realized that similar to like when you go into a fight, your heart rate spikes, and your breath is almost taken out of you so quick, or for me at least. And I know it happens for a lot of people. And it's like with that adrenaline rush. So, and the same thing would happen when I'm performing on stage. It's like in the studio I can recite these songs perfectly, but all of a sudden I step up on stage and my breath is just sucked out of me, and my heart just won't stop beating, and my hands won't stop shaking. And so I got to the point where I had to crack down on that. So I was actually militant about it. And the breathing techniques that I would do for singing are obviously completely different than for sleeping. uh, for singing, stuff like that, it would have to be like there's so many different breath patterns that you want to touch on to be able to do different types of techniques with your words at the time. So like, for example, when you're rapping slower, more drawn out phrases, you want to be able to hold that oxygen and let it out more evenly. When I'm doing like the fast raps, I need to be able to expand and be able to pull in as much air as quickly as possible and push out as much air as quickly as possible. So that's a completely different type of breathing technique. So I would practice multiple types of breathing techniques. So, so there'd be like the slow, long inhale and the slow, long exhale, just to, you know, that's for like a different type of rhythmic pattern. And then there'd be like the really quick, really fast, as fast as I possibly can, in and out, and as fast as and as deep as I possibly can. And at the same time, during every type of breathing technique, practicing diaphragm breathing, practicing on expanding your diaphragm when you take that breath in, because it doesn't come naturally. Naturally, we want to suck in for some reason, when people want to take a deep breath, they want to suck in their stomach. But what you really want to do with diaphragm breathing is you want to expand your diaphragm, and it gives you more space to fill in your lungs. So you don't want to suck your stomach in at all. And the more you do it, the more natural it gets. I remember in the beginning it was very awkward for me, because you want to suck in when you breathe in, but really you actually want to be able to push out. And I know it feels uncomfortable and unnatural because it took me a while of practicing it, and then also on top of all of that, one of the other breathing techniques is just literally stretching. This is what I do in the shower every night, still, every night. Even if I'm exhausted and I want to take a quick shower, I still do this while I'm breathing in the steam. I stretch my lungs. I will just, I don't do it particularly fast or particularly slow, and I don't specifically try to breathe in my nose or my mouth, either one. My point is to just suck in as much air as I possibly can. So I picture my lungs in different chambers, and I expand my diaphragm out, and I stretch out the bottom and suck in air as much as I can. And with that first breath, it's like I feel like I sucked in as much as I can, hold it, and then I push it into the bottom part of my lung, and then I realize I can actually suck in more air. So I give it one more good breathe in, and then I suck that air into the middle level of my lungs. I don't know if this is actually what's happening, but this is how I visualize it, and it seems to work. And then I do my third final biggest pull in, and I feel inside, I feel everything stretching and expanding, and I'll take that last third breath and just suck in as much as I possibly can, and I feel like it's going to start ripping out of me, and I just hold it, and I just swallow, and I just hold it, and then I slowly breathe it out, and I'll breathe it out as much as I can, and then I'm collapsing my lungs and kind of pulling everything back in. And it just, I don't know. And at the same time, I visualize when I'm doing this, not every time, but a lot of times, especially when I'm tired and I feel like I need to be rejuvenated, I picture my entire body, I picture like the silhouette of my body, and it's just like dark or whatever. And then when I breathe in, I picture that as white light filling up my body, and every time I take a breath, it fills up a little bit more, and I'm pulling that light in, and it's going throughout my body until the point where I'm just glowing with white light. And that's just a visualization technique that I do along with the breathing technique. But yeah, I don't know why. I don't even know if that's what you asked, but yeah, it's all about breathing. And at the same time, I smoke. So although I'm not a heavy smoker by any means, I smoke more green than anything. I do like my American spirits though, once in a while, and my girl hates me for it. But like, I don't smoke a lot at all. You know, it's like that. I'll use that. That's like my treat. She thinks I do just because I do it at all. It's bad for her, but like I grew up around smokers, you know. My parents are smokers, and like I'm not I'm not on that level at all. I don't need it. And she knows that, and I mean I've shown her that. She sees that. Like it's not like when I like it's more of a ritualistic thing to me. So, oh wow, you really experienced a lot. I did too. Breathing and different muscle contractions. Yeah. For me, you said for you, when you were maybe 10 years old, you saw on TV a guy sitting in a lotus pose, and you went straight and did it without any preparation, and from there you started looking for yoga books, but it was hard because yoga was forbidden at the time. Wow. Yoga was forbidden? That's crazy. That's wild. Yeah, I guess that would make sense. I mean, yeah, where I come from, yoga was never forbidden. That's wild. That is absolutely wild. Yeah, I mean my stepsister, she was a yoga teacher for a while. I don't know if she's still doing it, but yeah, different muscle contractions. It's sometimes my muscles go would go crazy when I start doing these breathing techniques. I kind of have also pushed myself to the extreme with these to the point where maybe it actually wasn't good for me. But I was able, I'll tell you what, after doing all of these techniques, then the difference is was so noticeable. It was huge. And it's still, like I said, I still do the deep breathing when I take my showers. And I mean I could still hold my breath longer than anyone who's ever challenged me when we're swimming in the pool. Mostly it's just me and my girl now, and you know, she was a lifeguard for a little while, but like she couldn't even save herself, let alone save someone else. She knows I love her, but I mean, she knows it. It's no secret. Like she wants to race me across the pool, and I'll go underneath and do the whole thing in one breath, and I turn around and she didn't even get a third of the way, and she's over there wiping the water out of her eyes. Like, so I'm not saying that I have the best lungs, but like, definitely, the techniques definitely help. And sometimes it gets you so, you know, like you can be on cloud nine just from different breathing techniques. It's really tough to explain, but and yoga, I've tried different yoga positions, but it's not like that's something if I was gonna meditate with another person, that's something I would like to do if I was gonna practice different. Otherwise, anytime I meditated, I always just tried to find the most comfortable sitting position. But I mean, I've seen it, and you know, one day I'll practice some sort of meditations, group meditations, or something like that. You know, I know there's a lot of power in that. Back when when I read the Celestine Prophecy, that was a book that made me want to meditate with other people. The way that he starts manipulating energy with other people. I mean, one day something popped up here, but I can't find it now. Hmm. How does how was yoga forbidden? I'm curious. Like, did they Like the government forbid it? That's wild. I mean, I know even back in the day, like before Google and before the internet was so prominent, like learning anything was a lot tougher. It really was. So I used to go to the local bookstore, not the library. I would go to the library a little bit, but really what I did, even if I didn't like a book, if it was even halfway decent, I wanted to own it. If I was ever a hoarder of anything, and am still a hoarder of anything, it's books. When we move to the new house, that's going to be one of the most annoying things is moving all my boxes of books. But this is going to be the first house we buy, so I'll be able to put up lots of shelves and turn one of the rooms into my library, even if my girl hates me for it. You think the position of the body is less important. The important thing is what you do inside during meditation. I think so too. I think that's the most important. I do, obviously, let's not ignore, like, there can be a lot of different significant things you can achieve through different positions that I guess could affect the flow of energy in the body. But it's like, what are you meditating for? Like, are you? I don't know. I know I don't know exactly, but I know that the different yoga positions are to achieve different types of things in different meditations. And sure, but I agree with what you're saying. The ultimate meditation is not about anything physical. So whatever is the easiest, most comfortable position to get you to disconnect from this physical body is probably the best position to be in. Then there could be something to be said for like learning to enter that state while in an uncomfortable, difficult position. I guess I mean, I get it. It's all good. I agree with you, but at the same time, I would, I would like to try more yoga meditations, different types of positions. I don't know. It was forbidden. They tried to open a transcendental movement, but they arrested a lot of people, most of them university teachers, investigating them and all. Wow. Wow, and now look at it these days. I mean, transcendental meditation has become probably the most powerful mainstream form of meditation, especially for like celebrities and stuff, and that's crazy that it was forbidden and they were investigating them. Like, was that was that I don't know the laws in your country very well at all. I'm sorry. I'm very, very unfamiliar actually. Like, what is what is the situation of church and state? Like, was that inspired by, um, I hate to put it on the churches, but I feel like the church is always the ones that would be the most against this, or I guess maybe just strictly government too, because they don't want the people to know their true power. But let's be real. We all know it's the church that has resisted these types of ideas the most, calling them devilish and all that. But I used to go to the local libraries. I remember that we had a small library in town, and then they built a bigger one, and they were moving. And in the process of moving, I guess they got a bunch of new books because they were getting rid of all their old books. And for a while, like once a year, they would do a big book sale, and it would be $1 for hardcovers and 50 cents for soft covers. And I used to be in heaven, and like there wasn't a lot of people that would go to buy them, so like I would go more than once and just keep like in waves. I would just come home with big boxes of books, and be able to pick out whatever I wanted. And that's where, and I was able to find like different yoga books. And that's the reason I was able to read about know anything about yoga back in the day. Because a lot of this, not that Google, I mean, I know my experience is a little more recent than yours, but even at this time, like Google wasn't as prominent, and it was definitely more difficult to find things on the internet, and I definitely was even less tech savvy at the moment, and so I really did my digging in books. I always felt like also like that can't be distorted or changed, and no one could ever take it from me. So I love my books. I really love my books. I can't wait to break all of them out because I got so many good ones that I've probably just forgotten about that are sitting in boxes. You know, I have a very small selection up on my shelf here. Yo, Cliff, how you feeling, homie? What is my my battery's at 27%, so I'm gonna have to unplug the mic at some point, or we might just turn it off before then. I don't know. I realize the phone I have doesn't have wireless charging, so that's not gonna work for me. Okay, I'm liking some comments now. Even after the Iron Curtain fell off, they entered into ashrams with ATF arresting people. That's crazy. Telling them we're a paramilitary organization and we're dangerous. They were rolling on TV a video with one of our colleagues with his hands in handcuffs on his belly in the floor at gunpoint. Damn, that is insane. Jeez. Wow. That's crazy because at least for me, from my American perspective, we would have thought after the Iron Curtain fell off, stuff like that for the most part wasn't happening. Like that was supposed to kind of be, but I mean we all know stuff like that still does happen, but like to think of, like if that was something that regularly happened, that's insane. And I get it. You know, they don't want groups of organized, enlightened individuals for obvious reasons. And I ask why you were not putting your photo up on your profile. I get it. No. No, I understood that. As soon as you explained it, I understood it. I would never question that. Like, I get that. But you're a beautiful soul. You radiate love. Cliff, you're packing the bud in the two different vaporizers that you showed. Yeah, I remember them. I'm having trouble getting through this one tonight because I sprinkled some keef in it. I sprinkled some of the that fine ground keef, and it was like, you know, it's almost like hash in here, and it's rough. You are amazing. Yes, we appreciate the picture. Okay, it's nice to see your faces in the comments. Actually, it's beautiful. Yo, Cliff, what do you got? What are you packing up? I got some stuff that's called jealousy right now. I know it's not a creative name, but I didn't come up with it. Uh, it's a hybrid. I tried to go for sativa, but this is what I got. For some reason, my legs keep cramping. I did get a hell of a leg workout at work, carrying those boxes up and down the stairs. So Yeah, no, Dee Dee, I understand completely. And, I mean, I guess I can't completely understand because I don't come from that. And in all honesty, I've never been out of the country. I would love to, but I do study foreign affairs quite a bit. So, I mean, more than most people I know, at least, besides my oldest son. But so I get it. I get it. I mean, how long ago were you with your ex, Dee Dee? I'm curious. When was that? How disconnected are you from that at this point? Cliff, you said farm direct, fresh Gorilla Glue hybrid. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Farm direct. That's wild. That's wild. You guys got it made out there on the West Coast. Yeah, and I also I used to be a little more paranoid online because although it's nothing like having to deal with some sort of socialist regime or a communist regime or something. You split almost 4 years ago. Okay, yeah, you should be good. You're okay. I think you can break free from that. I mean, if homie is still looking for you, then like I don't think he's gonna find you at this point anyway. But damn, like you don't have your actual name up still, and even with the picture, like we're all looking at him from cell phones these days. The faces are so small. Anyone could look like anyone. I don't know. I think you're okay. We don't have to worry about that. I hope not. But there was a point in my time where I was a little bit more paranoid and I was a lot more private, and I've gotten to the point where I really don't have any enemies. Back when I was younger, I definitely did. At the time, it was serious. I look back on it now and it's just stupid and funny, but like, when you're young and you're a young man and you're in that stuff, it can be serious even if it shouldn't be. We all feel like most men go through that phase, or I mean, I sure as hell did, and I had problems with people in lots of different types of ways. And anybody who's watching who knows me from high school, anyone who knows Pocono Mountain back when we were there, it was not like it is today, and there was a lot of high school drama, and some of it got uh, blown way out of proportion. And I'm just grateful that I never got too involved in anything to where I ended up hurting someone too bad or ending up in jail for something stupid. I'm very grateful. Every day I'm grateful for that. I never got into the hard drugs like everybody else did. Not everyone, but a lot of people I graduated with, a lot of them aren't here anymore for different reasons. And I mean, we can all relate to that, I think. But yeah, I'm just saying, like, I feel like we're shedding our old skins as we go and as we grow in these communities here with each other, like reaching around all over the world. We got people from different places, and everyone's basically connected for the same reasons here, and none of it's forced. And You know, none of it's unnatural, even though we're doing it over social media. And like, my girl hates me for it, and I know she doesn't take any of it serious, but like, you know, even though it's on Facebook or whatever, you can make fun of it all you want, but like, you know, these are real conversations that we're having, regardless of what the medium is. You know, so I feel like we're all kind of shedding the old skins and growing these new fresh skins as we go, and you know, who knows what it all will evolve into. But I'm just excited to be here with everyone, learning. It's been beautiful so far. And we're just getting started. So we still got a long way to go. So much more to talk about. So much more to think about. I can't wait to get the new studio set up so I could do actual live interviews with people. There's quite a few people in my life that I've already told them I'm going to bring them on for interviews. Because there's, you know, I've always attracted those fascinating people, those, what most people would call the crazies, you know, but those are my friends. So I'm going to get some of them on here. And that's probably at that point, when I set up the new studio, I'm going to start calling it a podcast at that point probably. And I'm going to start first, for my first few episodes, I'm going to upload these, but then, you know, I'll be posting my lives every week to Spotify and all that type of stuff. So that'll be cool. And really, honestly, my main goal is to be able to interview people. Well, one of my main goals is to be able to interview people way smarter than me. You know, I would love to get like experts on different fields in different ways without having to pay them exorbitant amounts of money. So, but whatever. I mean, there's a few people I've met already here online that are, that are real experts in their field. I mean, I love all of you, and you're all fascinating and intelligent, but you said, but I was/am in love. I love one of my friends dearly. Never met him in real life, but it doesn't matter. I feel safe loving him from thousands of miles away. I get it. No, I get it. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. And the cool thing about that is coming from the perspective that we're coming from, like us understanding the interconnectedness of the planet and the universe and energy and non-locality, which I have a lot to talk about with non-locality and the 2022 Nobel Prize for Physics. And there's been a new viral picture going around about quantum entanglement being captured in a picture that looks like a yin-yang. I'm not saying it's 100% true. I want to make a video about that, so I'm not going to talk about it now. But yes, us knowing that connections exist beyond just these physical connections, it makes like these what people call like stupid internet friendships makes it even more powerful and makes it make more sense for us. You know, more so than like there's a lot of people on those online dating sites and stuff or whatever you do. Most people who say that they have a friend that they met online, like they might not even realize why that can be so powerful. But us, I think we all understand that like tuning in to someone's frequency and finding a connection can happen across any distance with zero time delay. We know that. So I mean that is powerful. There's and the evidence behind it is there, you know. I don't think there's actually any physical evidence for such great distances yet, but you know, quantum non-locality shows it. So, and then I know like the Institute of Heart Math, you know, they know that they can measure the frequency, someone's individual frequency of their heart and their brain from I don't even know how far away, but it's very far away. You know what? Let me look it up. I know you can. I know the Institute of Heart Math, which is, I mean, they're one of my favorites. They do all types of awesome experiments. Um, they did this one experiment where they were measuring the measurable frequency of someone's heart at a distance, and you can still detect it from, I don't want to say how far away, but it was very far away. Uh, yeah, see, this is, I, I wish I could share my screen. Up to a quarter mile away, and obviously, and they believe they would be able to measure it from farther. It's just, it depends on the instrument you're using. I guess that makes sense. But I mean, there's a significant detectable frequency up to a quarter mile, which is crazy. And depending on the signal quality and without interference, I mean, yeah, so who really knows? You know, I believe we can detect someone's aura and their frequency at any distance. I really do. And like there's no reason not to believe that, even though we don't have direct physical evidence of it yet. At least not that's accepted widely by the scientific community. Not that everything that we believe has to be, because we know that they could be tainted too. Yeah, I love our little community here. You guys are all great. You really are. My phone's at 18%, so I don't know. What are we gonna do here? I I do have a new song I'm working on. Uh, it's it's been a long time coming. I got this. There's this album I want to drop, but it's like every time I get the chance to make the songs that I have written, I have a new idea that I want to execute. So like I always end up making another song, and so I have like maybe like 8 or 9 songs just for this album that I want to actually finish, and then I have maybe another 5 or 6 that are just ideas that I can't put out the album until I make these songs and get these done. So you'll go on in a bit. All right, Cliff, it's cool, homie. You don't have to. I mean, you don't have to feel pressured. You're good. I don't wanna. Whatever's good. We got time. We're chilling anyway. I'm here. Like I said, I might have to unplug the mic, but I still got a decent amount of coffee left. I still got a lot to talk about. I mean, I could go through questions. Really, I feel like the questions thing is like more of a selfish thing for me. So like, because a lot of the people who asked the questions, I collected them through a lot of these Facebook groups from, you know, posting like, oh, Q&A, ask me anything and stuff. And like, I mean, you guys know how that is in those groups. Those threads get lost sometimes, and I don't even know who asked what, even if I write it down, I write their name down in front of the question, it's like, they're probably not watching this, and I don't know, like, how to get my answer back to that exact individual unless it's one of you guys, one of the regular followers. So at this point, I'm just like answering questions just to do it. But so I mean, some of them, a few of my friends asked me specific questions, and those are the ones that I got to. But at this point, all the questions I have are for like, I don't even know. I don't know. But you know, some of them might be interesting. That is kind of with some of them, because I posted a lot of that. Sometimes I go and post to the different hip hop groups, and those groups can be a little bit rougher than the meditation and the dreaming and the astral projection and the you know it's a different world in those hip hop groups. So I get a lot of, I mean, I'll pull up some of the questions. One of the questions, because I remember, and I've been thinking about it ever since I saw it. Um, because in this same group, it was one I posted how often do you remember your dreams in a hip hop group, and someone commented, and he's like, this doesn't belong in this group. And I went through and I'm just like, yo, people are posting like random flyers in this group with just like naked chicks advertising other things that have absolutely nothing to do with hip hop. So like, whatever, sure, it doesn't belong, but like, you got a bunch of stuff that doesn't belong, so I figured this wouldn't hurt. I've been involved in some of these groups for a long time, and so it's like, whatever. You said, did anyone in my family also manifest my interest and skill in lucid dreaming and the rest? My parents or siblings? No, no. My sister, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've seen my sister on here before. She jumps in the comments sometimes, and she jumped on live with me before briefly. She definitely hasn't manifested she hasn't manifested my skill. She doesn't go that deep with it, but my sister is like very, I mean, she's artsy fartsy. She considers herself a pixie. Like she's into all of it and interested in all of it, and she's very deep. But she is very, I don't know if you know how they talk about the left brain and the right brain, and I know that it's not. I, yeah, I saw your sister. She loves you. She does love me. But she's like much less analytical than I am, and she's much more kind of just completely go with the flow. Whereas like I have that side to me too, but I also have a very, very meticulously analytical side to me. Doesn't mean it doesn't make me smart. I'm not saying it does. I'm saying it's just a different way of thinking. So she will kind of dabble with the lucid dreams, but she never studied it or turned it into a habit. But she is, in general, she's a dreamer, if you know what I mean. She's just naturally, she's a dreamer. She's very creative. She's another beautiful soul, and she expresses it. But no, she didn't. Nobody else in my family. The only other people, my son is interested when I talk about it. Uh, the oldest, not quite as much. My younger son, I feel like might be, a lot of times he just likes to talk and he likes to just ask questions. So, and so I spill a lot of this on him, but he hasn't really got to that level yet to where he's, practicing it. He's told me about there's nights where I tell him, I tell him, imagine this, do whatever you want, and think about it before you go to sleep. And you'll dream that. And then he's told me it didn't work before, and there's times where he did tell me it worked, and he's all excited. So we'll get there. We'll get there with the kids. But the only other people, uh, my grandparents. My grandparents on my mom's side, I can specifically remember that they, I guess they still didn't, it's not the same level of interest or skill with it, but it's one of the things that kind of got me fascinated with it was that when I was first reading about these things, and like if I would tell it, I remember telling it to my mom, and she told me, she's like, your grandparents experienced something just like that. They would talk about when they would go to sleep in bed together, they would lift up over the bed, I believe, or yeah, they would lift up over the bed, and they said they astrally projected together. They didn't know it was called astral projection. My grandpa, he was the one that passed away, but I remember specifically talking to my grandmother about it, and I would love to ask her about it again, because it's been a while. But like, yeah, she was like everything that I would describe with astral projection. She would be like, yeah, me and your grandfather did that. And she talked about one time where they were driving, like weird things that happened to them. Very interesting, weird things. I guess they both saw a road ahead of them, but then all of a sudden the road disappeared. So I need to ask her about these things again. So, but no, and my dad is also, uh, my dad has a lot of Native American blood in him, and he's just a very wise, deep thinker. Like he's never developed a specific fascination with like dreaming or all that type of stuff, but he did my dad is the one who always recommended the Carlos Castaneda books, and I don't know if you know about them, but if not, definitely look up Carlos Castaneda and all of the experiences with ayahuasca and higher powers and all that stuff. And my dad's definitely like has a good grasp of a lot of this type of stuff and understands it, and like I can talk to him. I can have lots of very deep conversations with my dad about a lot of these things. He's very, very sharp. My dad's very wise. My stepbrother used to always call him the preacher, although he's not. He's never been like religious in that sense. He did always tell me there is a God, because I went through that period of time in my life where I'm like, there is no God. It's so obvious. What I didn't realize at the time was that I was wrestling with the idea of the Christian God. But now obviously, and my son just asked me the other day if I believe in God, and I was like, yes, but not what most people think of it as. I told him I believe the universe is God, and it fits the description. So, but back in, my dad was never deeply religious, but I remember when I was kind of like anti-religion, he was like, Daniel, you better realize there is a God. Don't start, so he always reminded me like there is a God. He never pushed any religion on me, and he's not deeply religious. He doesn't believe the specific stories of the Bible. When he was going through his AA classes, we would sit there and say some biblical prayers together. I remember when I was really young, but he never strictly stuck to the Bible. He was just like, I don't know. You said she is lovely, so it runs in the family. Just wonder, are you left-handed or ambidextrous? You know which of the hemispheres is dominant might be determined by the way you use your hands. Yes, there is a God. No, I'm not left-handed or ambidextrous. I'm right-handed. You know which of the hemispheres is dominant might be determined by the way you use your hands. Yeah. This is why I wanted to... Actually, this is why I skimmed over it before with the left brain, right brain thing, because... Alright, here we go. Let me light up again for this, because Because when I was in high school, I had an art teacher named Mr. James, who was a local painter. And in the library and in a lot of the local shops, you see his paintings hanging. And he was the one who taught us about the left brain and the right brain. And there was a book he made us read called Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. And he was an amazing teacher, and to this day I love him. And I had him like a few years in a row. And my sister also had him at one point, so she knew him. And he's not the only art teacher that made a huge impact on my life, but Miss Crowley was the one, and she's still like best friends with my sister to this day. But no, Mr. James taught us about the left and the right hemispheres, and I loved it. And as you read about it and learn about it, it makes perfect sense. And I felt like it's such a great explanation, and it does make sense, and I get it. But the important thing, because I'm so interested in it that I wanted to understand it more. But the more I look at it objectively, I have to admit and realize that what we call the left and the right sides of the brain is it's just a way to understand the polarities of human behavior and patterns. What I mean is that when they look at the brain and the electrical activity in the brain, no matter what activity you're doing, usually both sides of the brain are engaged and active. And it's not like when you're being fully creative and free flowing, it's the right side of your brain that's active. And when you're doing math problems and writing out specific lists, it's not like the left side of your brain is active. It just doesn't work that way. So the left and the right is just like kind of a way for us to understand the two different sides of behavior. And it gives us an easy way to think about it. But like, and if I'm wrong, please try to, I mean, anyone can correct me. But if there's a better explanation that someone has, please let me know. But any type of studies on the brain show that both sides are engaged at all times, basically. And I mean, not that there's no way to localize which parts of the brain are being engaged. It's just not, the creative side is, when you're doing creative things, the right side of your brain is not specifically engaged. And when you're doing analytical things, the left side of your brain is not specifically engaged. The thing is that using whatever words you want to use to describe those two different polar sides of human behavior doesn't really matter. You could call it the warm side of the brain and the cold side of the brain. You can call whatever you want. You could call it the square side of the brain and the circle side. Whatever. It's not about, because the brain is divided in hemispheres. It's an interesting way to think about it, but it actually doesn't work that way. I wish it did, but it doesn't. But still, it doesn't mean that there's no significance in recognizing those like I said, the two sides of it. There are still left-brained people, and understanding the way that left-brained people work, you can definitely make better predictions about these people, and have more insight into them just knowing how that type of personality behaves, and obviously everyone is both, but some are more one than the other, and some are more one than the other depending on what situation they're into, but whatever. I think that's my rant about that. Very interesting, but it's like I said, it's a good way to explain someone. So when I say that my sister is very right-brained, if like you know what I'm talking about when I say that. So that's why those words do have purpose, and it is still I still use the terminology. I just try not to dwell on it or like elaborate on it too much, and without clarifying like I just did, that I understand that you know, it's not so literal, but doesn't mean that it doesn't make sense. Uh, yeah, my phone's at 8%. It's probably gonna die soon. Uh, I can plug in the charger, but I don't like to. I feel like if I get any good quotes, I'm gonna want them to be with this microphone. But whatever. I also, like I said, there's one specific song I'm working on right now. Now that I got that work song done. Yo, Cliff, are you still there? I wanted to know why you made that angry face when I posted that song. I don't mind. I actually like it. It looks good for engagement, and people are gonna click on it and be like, "Why is this guy angry?" But what? You didn't like that song because it was a diss song? Oh no, actually, you didn't even do that with the diss song. You did that with the Which song did you make the angry face on? You did it with the that misinformation song. Yo, Cliff, why didn't you like that song? Because in case of brain damage, some people recover. Other parts of the brain start to function in the place of the damaged parts. Exactly. Exactly. And that's called neuroplasticity. That's the ability of neurons to be able to reroute based on how they're influenced. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it's just, it's not as simple as just the left and the right, but still, still a good way to think about it. And like I said, Mr. James taught us that, and he was always right-brained, from what he would say, and like he always told me I was very right-brained. He also told me I should be a lawyer though, so he's like I might be a little bit of a lefty in there. But it was funny because like when the principal would be like walking the class and the principal would be standing there talking to us, Mr. James would be, I'm not sure if the screen is flipped for you, but Mr. James would do the left. He'd be like, put the L on his forehead. He'd be like, he's a lefty, like making fun of the left brain people. Mr. James was one of the greatest teachers ever. I've had some amazing teachers in school. As much as people like to talk down on that school, because where I live right now, this school district is like so much better or whatever. But man, I had some great teachers in that school that left a major impact on my life. Yeah, so if the phone's gonna die, then I'll probably just let it happen so I can focus on finishing that song. There's so much I want to do with music that I don't get around to. Okay, if I want to call us the nighty night. Okay, well I'm gonna say good night now in case we get cut off, because we will in a couple minutes. But yeah, I have so much songs, and like you were saying, a lot of my old songs, I would love to redo them. Like that song that I share when I post the for the live videos, that When I Dream song. I know it's not a catchy song at all, and it's very rough, and like probably nobody likes it, but I don't really care. That was an old, very old song that sounds very rough. The original one was horrible. I redid that relatively recently. And there's a bunch. There's a song called Daydream I would love to redo. I have so many songs about dreams that are recorded with such low quality. I would like to redo them. I would like to start with the ones about dreams first, and then there's so many old songs I'd like to redo. I'd love to redo that Unity song at some point. And at the same time, like I said, there's so many new songs I want to do and so many new concepts I want to execute. So right now, there's one song specifically that I'm really excited to put out. It's all written. I have a very rough recording. I just need to get a good, clean recording, and I'm actually excited about this one. Not all of my songs, a lot of my songs are like personal challenges. Plug in phone if you want to do duet live. Alright, I gotta say though, like I need to figure something out because My issue with the duet live is that not only does my voice sound like trash just recorded through the phone, but it's so tough for me to hear just from the speaker on my phone that I end up coming so close to it. And that's why if you notice in all those earlier ones that we did, when we do the duet, it's like you can only see like right here on me because I can't hear anything unless I'm that close to my phone. And if I like hook up the Bluetooth speaker, then there's going to be like an echo. And but we could do it. We could do it. But I'm telling you right now, again, I'm not going to be stuck on here. I'm not going to be stuck on here all night. Also, it seems like when we do the duets, my microphone goes out always in the beginning, or my sound goes out. But yeah, we could do it. We could do it, homie. I'll plug in. I do want to get this song done though, and I am very excited about it. It's gonna be a good one. Not sure how this is gonna work. I guess you finished your vape session up, man. I'm still trying to finish that one blunt. Alright, let me see if this works. I wish there was I do have the laptop right here. Last time I tried to go live on there, it like tried to make me download some software that I didn't. Oh man, my phone is at 1%. I just plugged it in, so we should be good, but it still might die just because I don't know. Honestly, I have it plugged in charging from out of my computer, so hopefully it don't die. Maybe let's give it a minute and see if it goes to 2%. I don't know. I should have plugged it in a little bit earlier. My legs keep cramping. You said try speaker check. If there's echo, you have your amp. I mean, I don't know what you mean by that. Where are we at? I'm still at 1%. I don't know. I guess, you know what, I could plug in a good charger. Give me a second. Okay. That should do it. Yeah, we should be good now. I mean, it's still at 1%, so if it dies, it dies, but yeah, homie, you could hop on. If I have trouble hearing you, maybe I'll I don't know. I could use like my Bluetooth earbud, but then the mic on that thing is. We could reset if it dies. Yeah, I could also figure out how to do it from the laptop here. I wouldn't mind that. Eventually, pretty soon here, I'm gonna be going live from TikTok. But I'm still gonna do the Facebook. This is always gonna be my one. But it's crazy because like, homie was telling me the other day how his girl makes. I mean, a few people have told me that they make money going live on TikTok. Like, I don't, for whatever reason, there's something similar to what Facebook Stars has, but I guess it's like coins or something on TikTok, and it's more popular than a Facebook star. So like he said his girl goes on there, she barely even does anything, but she goes live and like she makes like, you know, 90, 100 bucks here and there. Like, jeez. So yeah, thing is, I can't go live on TikTok till I have 1,000 followers, so I'm like hustling, trying to get more followers on there. It's crazy. Like, these people blow up overnight from nothing. I've been posting like crazy. Whatever. I like Facebook better. I don't even want to, but I do. Like, you know, I wish, really, I want to gravitate towards YouTube more. And like, I know the YouTube monetization is really good. YouTube pays its creators better than any other platform. You know, that's what I've heard from a lot of different, but it's possible through any platform. And I know, Cliff, I know, use your Bluetooth speaker or earplugs, sound check them. Alright, my Bluetooth earbuds are inside. So, I think they're in my car. I'd have to run and grab them. If you want to give me a second, I'll do that. Is my phone charging? Still at 1%. Who knows? It might just hold that 1% for a while here. But yeah, I can grab my earbuds. What's up with these? I mean, I could also try the speakers, but I'm afraid that the speakers are going to cause a bad echo, because they usually do. Let me see what I got here. Yeah, I mean, I got that speaker. I got this. See, there it is. Nah, man, that's gonna cause a crazy echo. Hold on, let me turn that sound off. I'm gonna go get my earbuds. Actually, I think that's a better idea. I have a couple different pairs, so I guess if you could hold off for a second, Cliff. Let me run through and like test which ones, because I know at least on one of the pairs the mic is horrible and it's like sounds real. It doesn't really work at all. But I'm sure between like the 3 different pairs I have, one of them has a decent mic on it. So yeah, let me go grab those. Maybe in the meantime. Not too sure what's going on here. Okay, yeah, let me just go grab them real quick. I'll be right back.